We've got a fascinating guy up because he has helped the authorities dish out about 40,000 quid's worth of fines after catching hundreds of people, drivers we're talking about, behind the wheel of their vehicles doing things that they shouldn't do. He's road safety campaigner Mike van Erp, and he was even responsible for landing the film director Guy Ritchie with a 6-month driving ban after he filmed this video. Now, Mr. Ritchie was convicted of texting whilst behind the wheel of that car.
So, Mike, good morning. We're just looking at that video there. Tell us, Mike, where that was, how you saw it, and we see you approach Guy Ritchie.
Did you know it was him?
Yeah, did you know it was him, and what conversation did you have?
No, I had no idea it was him at all, not until Wednesday when the Evening Standard phoned me. I was actually just 10 minutes of going up and down the cycle lane in Hyde Park, and I saw a 4x4 driver using his phone. And I actually left him. I went to another driver further down the road and filmed them. And then on my way back, I thought, well, I'd better check that 4x4 again. And fair enough, he was busy texting at the wheel.
But this car looks stationary to me, Mike.
It's obviously slow-moving traffic.
When at the beginning of that, the car is stationary.
Yes, that's a very good point. And many people would argue it's not dangerous, but I would suggest quite the opposite. For example, I have a couple of professional lorry driver friends who have seen people doing exactly this. And then when the driver was beat from behind because they left a gap, they shot off and rear-ended the car in front. Or imagine a child or some parents crossing the road in front of a driver texting. You know, they wouldn't have any idea that they're doing that.
What was Guy Ritchie's reaction when... Because he did open the window to give him his due and talk to you. What sort of conversation did you have?
Yeah, he was perfectly polite and nice, and I really respect him for doing that. You know, that's not the case with every driver you speak to. Very often I don't even try to speak to the driver, but he saw me this time. So yes, I think he was starting to say something about, but he's stationary in traffic.
Yeah, well, he lost his licence because of all of that. But let me ask you, Mike, on behalf of a lot of people watching today, why is any of this your business?
It's a fair point. I guess, as you know, my dad was killed by a drink driver when I was 19. And studies suggest that drink driving is roughly similar to phone driving in terms of the level of distraction a driver is put under. And secondly, as a cyclist, I think many cyclists wouldn't realise just how much bad driving can be triggered by our presence on the road. I'm not saying everyone's a bad driver, by no means. Most people are very good. But of those people who are driving badly, cyclists are often the ones to experience it.
So this is the point, actually. By you doing what you do, and I don't know if you operate alone, if you're a lone crusader or not, but does this sort of help get the message out to everyone else to be worried about that your primary reason for being behind the wheel of a vehicle, a car, a lorry, whatever it happens to be, is to steer that, is to be aware of the road, not to sit looking at a computer screen or texting on a phone?
Yes, I'd agree. You know, we're here to be safe on the roads, to share the roads. The roads are for people. So I'd argue we all have a very big responsibility to other people when we're sharing the roads. And of course, when you're in a car or a lorry, you're at much greater responsibility because you're piloting a heavy piece of machinery.
Mike, when you go out and you catch these drivers, are you going out specifically to look for drivers who are breaking the law and being on their phones, or is this just happening in your day-to-day business as you're going to and from work? Because you said you saw Guy Ritchie, but actually went further on to another driver and then came back to him. So are you actually going car to car looking for people?
Most of the time, it's just on my daily commute to and from work. I think, if I remember correctly, this day I'd finished work and I was just having a ride around the park to enjoy the park. Yeah, so I'm not specifically going out to look for them, but I am watching people as I'm riding along anywhere in London.
And how big a problem do you think this is? You know, in the time that you've been doing this, are you seeing this more and more?
I saw it this morning.
Yeah.
I was on my way into work this morning, knowing that I was going to interview you, and a guy in a red Ford Vauxhall Corsa beside me was just driving along in slow traffic, just doing this, just texting away on his phone. And then I felt, is that my responsibility? Am I lacking in my public duty by not taking a photograph of him? I was a passenger. am I lacking in my public duty by not taking a photograph and reporting him?
That's a very fair point. Well, I wouldn't blame anyone for not doing a report about someone like that, because it's a pain. You know, maybe it doesn't take very long for an individual report, 10 minutes or so. But this is something really we should be looking at police for. But it's not the police's fault either, because their numbers have been reduced so much. Maybe we should be looking at mobile phone cameras, like I believe they're running in Australia.
Yeah. Guy Ritchie did plead guilty to using his phone while driving, and he was banned from driving for 6 months. Got 6 points on his licence and a fine. Do you ever feel then a little bit sorry for people after you've basically caught him and shopped him to the police?
Very much so. But then again, I should point out, I'm told that he already had 3 separate speeding offences giving him 9 points. So if he's banned for that, that suggests he's not really learning from the point system. And I believe that the point system here is there to teach us when we make mistakes and to give us a chance to change our behaviour.
You said, you know, Guy Ritchie was very pleasant. He opened his window, he talked to you, he wasn't aggressive in any way. But you must get people who are aggressive, surely, Mike. Have you ever felt under threat? Has anybody ever attacked you?
Some people have been fairly aggressive. I don't know if you came across the 2 videos from last year where I blocked some drivers in Regent's Park who were on the wrong side. 2 of them were particularly aggressive, but most people aren't. Now, sometimes people will shout at you, but they generally won't get out the car.
Is phone driving an epidemic, do you think?
I think so, yes. Probably on any queue of traffic, you'll see somewhere between 20 and 30% of drivers using their phones.
Mike, are you loved or loathed?
A friend of mine did a bit of data analysis on the tweets from the day on when this went live, and it looked like about just over half of people were approving. About a quarter of people were yearbutt cyclists, and just under a quarter were Mikeys in the wrong.
Now, I'd be very interested to know people who are watching this morning how they feel, so please get in touch with the show. Please let us know. Get in touch and we'll reflect that later in the programme. But just in conclusion, Mike, what would you say to people who are watching this morning and who are just saying you're a nosy old Parker, none of your business, get on with your own life? What would you say to people who disapprove of you or what you do?
All I'm going to say is, look, there's thousands and thousands of camera cyclists out there. Most of it are doing it not just for ourselves, but for our kids, our families, other people's kids. So please just be careful towards other humans on the road, just as I am in a bike and in a car.
OK, you sound very reasonable, and we'll find out if people think you are reasonable, Mike, with what you do. Yes. Stay safe. Are you a driver as well? Do you drive vehicles?
Yes, I am. I haven't driven in the last couple of years simply because I don't need to at the moment. But I would certainly, if I'd rent a car or anything very quickly if I needed to drive again.
Good
I
man.
drove a lot for work in the past.
OK, thanks, Mike.
Thank
really
you, Mike.
interesting talking to you. Mike Van Erp is 48 years of age. He's a father of 2 from West London, and he has been shopping drivers for road offences for about 14 years or so. That's what he tends to do.
And his latest was the film director Guy Ritchie.
Is he a hero? Is he a villain? Please do let us know.